Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our 9 a.m. English news edition. Here are the headlines. Hello and welcome again. The President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, left today, Saturday, the country to the city of Niamey, the capital of Niger, where, like his counterparts, head of states and government of Africa, he will take part in the 33 Ordinary Summit of Pan-African Organization. One-day summit, July 7, 2019. This foundation of the African Union is essentially dedicated to mark the entry into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area, which equates to a common market of the countries of the African Union. During this meeting, it will be especially a question of a last dubbing that the leaders of the country of Africa will bring to the entry into service of the notion complex of continental common market, the lifting of customs barriers, the planned regulation against competition unfair, the modalities of economic harmony between the products of the common market and other articles and goods. Everything will be evoked during this summit meeting between African leaders. This meeting will also serve as a platform to urge African countries to have not yet ratified the CFTA agreement to do so in order to further develop Africa into an integrated economic space within better weight on the chessboard world economy. Apart from this first theme, the 33rd Summit of the African Union will focus on the progress of many other initiatives still campaigning for the achievement of a greater African identity, including the issue of a passport and the establishment of a common airspace for the Black continent. In addition to this participation in the work of this summit, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, will as usual make the most of this trip, working in Niamey in Niger to meet on the margin with the main political leaders of the host country, notably with President Mahamadou Youssoufou. He will also meet still on the sidelines with several other of his counterparts, the head of state and government of Africa, participating like him at the 33rd Summit of the African Union. Note that during his visit to Niamey in Niger, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, will be accompanied by a large delegation, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, and the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Hassan Hamad Ibrahim. The work of the Summit of the African Union of Niger takes place since the 40th of July at the Palace of Congress of the Niamey Congress Palace in anticipation of the Summit of the African Union for the launch of the Continental Free Trade Zone for Niger, a historic event that sees itself as the cradle of economic integration, has hosted the African Summit for the start of the Free Trade Zone. Africa's new files will also be on the agenda of discussion of this summit. The Union, with the participation of several heads of state, including the Djiboutian President Ismail Omar Guelleh, a team from the on-site RTD filmed the atmosphere before the summit in Niamey. A strong Djiboutian delegation is taking part in the Niamey Summit's launching of the Continental Free Trade Zone. The ambassador from Djibouti and from the Mohamed Idris African Union returned to the highlight of the work. On the morning of Saturday, 6 July 2019, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan, made his first inspection visit to the Army Health Service. The purpose of this visit is to acquire the means and infrastructures available to the Army Health Service. This inspection visit was first started at the Central Directorate of the Armed Forces Health Service. On his arrival, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan was greeted by the Chief of Army General Lieutenant Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Then together they proceeded to the review of the troops. Brigade General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Chief of the Defense Staff, Major General Hassan Ali Kamil, advisor to CAMGA, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, Director of the National Police, was invited to this inspection visit. All the major leaders of the Djibouti Armed Forces, Then the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed Burhan, attended a brief presentation of the Dr. Colonel Major Hassan Ahmed Bulale, Director of the Service of the Health of the Armies. In his presentation, the Dr. Colonel Major Ahmed Hassan Bulale recalled that the Central Direction of Health Service of the Armies was created by decree on September 14, 2014 and inaugurated on February 10, 2016. Then he explained the various missions and varied in this direction and its evolution over the years. Mainly, this department is dedicated to the maintenance of the workforce, the treatment of the military, the medical support of the military in external operation, the training of military health cadres. In addition, it assists the government in case of need and solicitation. As a result of this, the Director of the Army Health Service highlighted the future prospect of this directorate, namely the improvement of the quality of care of military personnel and their families, the training of medical specialists, and the creation of a specific training center. After the briefing, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed Burhan, in the presence of the Chief General, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, proceeded to a guided tour of the Central Directorate of the Armed Forces Health Service, in particular the Social Service under the authority of Mrs. Zainab Ainashe. This service supports the social aspect of the life, the military, especially of the treatment of the violence or martial disputes, the accompaniment in the procedure of divorce, the constitution of the file, the deceased in order to obtain the capital death. In this continuity, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed Burhan, always accompanied by the CAMGA and staff, went to the direction of Unit Medicine, commanded by the Dr. Commander Habib Musa. Again, the Dr. Commander Habib Musa presented a presentation on the role and the mission devolving on to this new direction created in 2016. The direction of medicine of the units is in charge the support in health of all forces present on the soil or deployed in Somalia, the medical fitness visit, reassessment, reform and external operations. She also participates in the public health program and civil military action. In his continuity, the Dr. Commandant Habib Musa exposed the future perspectives of the direction of medicine, the units, which includes the acquisition of a digital radiography apparatus, the activation of the infirmaries of the bodies, the setting up of the center, and the computerization of military files. At the end of the presentation, the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohammed Burhan, with the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, conducted the guided tour of the unit's medical directorate. This department includes in its interior classrooms for trainees in training of infirmaries and careers, the laboratory of analysis, a store of storage of drugs and materials, a space of life for the trainees, a containment area for emergencies or disasters, an emergency room, and a biological or blood collection room. Thus, as usual, this inspection tour ended with an animation of folk songs and dances around a buffet led by the traditional folk group Harbi, followed by the presentation of gifts, and finally the family photos. During the day of Saturday, July 6, 2019, the General of Army Corps Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim received in his office at the General Staff of Thierry Laval Brigadier Army, a military attaché of the French forces stationed in Djibouti. Colonel Thierry Laval was promoted Brigadier General on 1st July 2019. This promotion follows the excellent work undertaken during his stay in Djibouti, land of meetings and exchanges. The General has invested a lot in strengthening the relations of military cooperation between France and Djibouti. Thus, it is to congratulate him on his new promotion that the Chief of General Staff Armed Forces met General Thierry Laval, satisfied with his career in a good natural atmosphere. CMGA, in the presence of Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Chief of the Defense Staff, wished for an excellent military career and a good continuation in his role. It should be noted that Brigadier General Thierry Laval has completed his mission as a military attaché and he is preparing to return to his country. As part of the integrated development of the early childhood, the Minister of Women and Family here, Excellency Moumina Ahmed Hassan, proceeded this afternoon of Wednesday, July 3, 2019, to laying the foundation stone for the construction of the Center Awakening of the Maljok will be carried out with the support of UNICEF. The ceremony of the pose of the first stone was attended by the Minister of Education and Professional Training, His Excellency Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, the representative of UNICEF, Mrs. Janabu Mahondi, the Prefect of the region of Arta, Mr. Abdullahi Darar Okie, the Maljok Sub-Prefect, as well as the other guests. This early childhood development center will welcome children from 18 months to 5 years old because it will house both a day nursery and a community daycare center. The first objective of setting up such a center is first to allow young children to receive an integrated package of nutrition, health, protection, hygiene and sanitation services, stimulation, education for their physical and motor development, cognitive and socio-emotional, as well as school preparation. The second objective is to promote parenting education for integrated care at the family level since conception and throughout early childhood, a transfer of knowledge and skills to parents to adopt practices and behaviors for the holistic development of young children is an integral part of the Early Learning Center programs. It is an integrated approach to the holistic development of young children. It requires a multi-sectoral collaboration around the same focus of interest, that is the child in his family and in the center of awakening. The Minister of Women and Family has identified 2 sites for piloting this integrated approach in the Bonjok, in the Arta region, and in the Obak region, but wishes to generalize this integrated approach in the other region of the namely Dikil, Ali Sabih and Tajua and in Babara in the year to come. As such, every child without distinction is entitled to such integrated development that has become an obligation and a major strategy for sustainable development in a case of investment in most countries in Africa. The National Union of Djiboutian Women has organized a ceremony dedicated to the benefits of the UNICEF representative in Djibouti, Janabu Mahonde, the Minister of Women of the Family, Mrs. Moumina Ahmed Hassan, the Vice President of the National Union of the Djiboutian Women, Hasna Ahmed Bilil, Secretary General of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Ifrah Ali, the Coordinator of the United Nations Agency in Djibouti, Mrs. Barbara Minzi, and a number of parliamentary women. The occasion is a tribute to UNICEF's effort to promote the rights and well-being of children in Djibouti and to support the effort of government in this area. UNICEF representative has started its precious mission to Djibouti in 2017, since Mrs. Janabu to deploy huge effort to promote the rights and the well-being Djiboutian children under numerous aspects. UNFD welcomes the perfect role that UNICEF has played in implementing national programs for education and protection of the rights of the child and in fighting child malnutrition. The Minister of Labor in charge of the reform of the administration, His Excellency Isman Ibrahim Roble, received in his cabinet the regional coordinator of the United Nations system in Djibouti, Mrs. Barbara Menzi. This meeting is part of the networking with United Nations organization and development partners. During this meeting, the Minister of Labour recalled the important role played by the United Nations agencies in the development of the country. He reviewed the main lines on which he would like to partners to provide support, namely the training of state agents and development of human resources, to reform of the administration, the support to improving the employability of young people, the modernization of labor legislation. For her part, the coordinator of the United Nations system assured the Minister of Support to improve the existing cooperation with the United Nations institution and the implementation of projects submitted by the ministers. This meeting took place in the presence of Mr. Abdullah Ali Mohammed, General Secretary of Ministry of Labour, and Mr. Khadir Omar Khalile, Technical Advisor in Communication. The Secretary of State of Decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, closed on July 4th a 4-day working visit to the Brotherhood of Morocco in the context of South cooperation and the strengthening of cooperation relations between Morocco and Djibouti. In addition to the talks with the highest officials on Morocco's progress in decentralization, as well as the examination of the lines of cooperation relations to be established between the two countries. Minister Aramis and his entourage were also entitled the briefing of and field visits to get a clear ideas of the Moroccan experience of decentralization and financing of local authorities. On the agenda of the minister agenda visits the decentralized institution or support of local development, such as the Municipal Funding Fund and the National Initiative for Local Development, and some of the projects they fund. This trip was very fruitful for the Secretary of State and his delegation, and will be followed by the setting up of a convention which will have to specify the basis of the cooperation between the two countries in the field of decentralization. The Djiboutian Federation of Swimming celebrated yesterday in Djibouti the World Swimming Day on the public site of the beach of Hiron. In this occasion, the Friday being day of rest, the beach was particularly black of water from the first hours of the day. Taking advantage of this special moment with the family at the beach, the cool off to the sea air, the FDN went to meet this crowd to celebrate the day by offering free swimming lessons for children and youth. This day aims to raise awareness and popularize swimming wide a wide audience. Indeed, before being a sport, swimming is a matter of public safety, and it is since the FDN is fighting for this discipline to be known and participated by all. This day also coincides with the official launch of the International Swimming Federation Swimming for All, Swimming for Life program. This ambitious concept aims on the one hand to make swimming accessible to the public, and on the other hand to enable everyone, especially children and young people, to save themselves by acquiring basic skills and to move easily in the aquatic environment. As a result, during the summer months of July and August, the Djiboutian Swimming Federation offers thanks to its technicians and educators to offer on the same side the learning of the basis of swimming. The FDN therefore invites Djiboutians to come in large numbers to register and benefit from these learnings, to be able to swim safely and enjoy all the pleasure of the sea. Today it is with a great sadness that we have just heard the disappearance of the late Ahmed Foure Dubat, died Thursday at Shekho Hospital following a long illness. The deceased was born in 1932 to Ali Sabih. He was father of 13 children and many small children. He was the father of our colleagues Sahel Ahmed Foure, who is allowed the head of RTD. He leaves behind 2 widows. We pray that we will welcome him into eternal paradise. And now, moving on the international news. The ship of a German NGO rescued 65 migrants from Libya on Friday morning and is now waiting for a response to take over Malta, Rome and Tripoli. The Alan Kurdi spotted the boats on overcrowded inflatable boat early in the morning, said the NGO-CI. The ship had functioning engine and enough fuel, but its occupant did not have a satellite phone or GPS. The people on board have an incredible chance of being spotted with binoculars in the early morning without a satellite-guided phone and nautical knowledge. these young people will probably have disappeared, said Gordon Isler Kurdi in a statement. The ship Alan Kurdi was baptized by CI in tribute to the Syrian boy found drowned on a Turkish beach in 2015 and whose photo has been around the world. According to the CI statement, neither Malta nor Italy nor the Libyan authorities have responded to NGO calls, while the reception of migrants rescued at the sea has become a headache. Faced with a similar situation, the Maltese government announced Friday sending a military ship to seek the 50 migrants rescued Tuesday by the sailboat of a left collective Mediterranean. And that is all for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful night.